Hi everyone, it's Dan and welcome to Drinking a Movie. So on this channel we pair cocktails and spirits to great movies. And tonight we've got an excellent pairing. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel or if you're returning and haven't done so, please click that subscribe button, please click the like button, and you can even click the notification bell which will let you know when new videos are available. That would be fantastic and help me out a lot. Thank you. Excellent. So tonight we head back to the 20s. First, a pre-prohibition cocktail that made a comeback during the Prohibition, and second, in honor of Black History Month, a movie that's based on August Wilson's play about the mother of the blues. So, are you ready to shake your moneymaker? Let's do it. Went out last night, had a great big fight. Okay, so first on the menu is the Clover Club. Now this is a gin-based cocktail that's sweetened with just a touch of raspberries. It's delicious and I think you're going to like it. Second, we'll be looking at 2020's Rainey's Black Bottom. So this is an excellent film. It's available on Netflix and it explores the recording session of the famous blues singer Rainey back in 1927. Excellent performances, excellent music, and I think you're going to enjoy that as well. So together, perfect match. So let's make that cocktail. Okay, so before we begin the cocktail, let me give you a little bit of history around it. So the Clover Club can be traced back to the late 1800s in Philadelphia's Bellevue Stratford Hotel, where it was invented. This is a very famous hotel at the turn of the century, and because of that, it classifies this cocktail as pre-prohibition. However, it did make a big comeback and enjoy a resurgence in the 20s, and that was mainly due to the sweet ingredients that we add to it being able to mask the horrible bathtub gin that was served in speakeasies back in the 20s. So fortunately the gin is much better today than it was then. So first ingredient is dry gin. Now you can use Old Tom or any of the sweeter gins, but really, because of the sweetness that we're adding later, the dry gin, in my opinion, is the way to go. And Bombay Sapphire is an excellent brand. So, got my jigger. Of course, we have our ice, fresh ice in our shaker. And we want 2 ounces of dry gin. All right, so add that in. All right, next up is lemon juice. And you want 100% lemon juice. If you could squeeze it, perfect. If not, just make sure you have buy juice that's not sweetened already. You want just 100% lemon juice. And this calls for ½ ounce. So, here we go. And this tartness is going to go very well with the dryness of the gin and the sweetness of the next ingredient. And that next ingredient is raspberry syrup. I've got it here in this fancy, nice little pour mini pitcher, if you will. Now, raspberry syrup is what it is, and the way you make it is very simple at home. You have, I use 2/3 of a cup of sugar, 2/3 of a cup of water, and then you get those to boil, making sure that the sugar's dissolved. When it hits boil, take it off the heat, and then put in a cup of raspberries into the pan. And then you use a potato masher to mash those raspberries up, and then a very fine strainer to drain that liquid into a nice bowl, and then you can discard the raspberry remains. And you end up with this very sweet, succulent raspberry syrup. And this recipe calls for ½ ounce. Pour that in. All right, so the next ingredient is something that you may or may not want to use. The recipe certainly calls for it. It is egg white, raw egg white. Now, despite its reputation, raw eggs, especially those that have been pasteurized, and the fact that we're using lemon juice in this, it's generally safe to consume. Obviously, there's risks to any raw foods, which you'll see right there. but we want to put in the eggs. Alright, because we're using the eggs and we're using fruit juices, we're going to want to shake this. We do not want to stir this one up. And when you shake, you want to make sure that you have as much liquid and ice contact as possible. So you don't want to shake it up and down. You want to shake it from a side perspective. And you want to shake it so it's nicely mixed. Once we finished our shaking, grab your chilled cocktail glass, pour your drink in there. It's a lovely pink. And then, of course, fresh raspberries to sit on top. And voila, the Clover Club. Alright, welcome to the movie chair. As is our custom, before we get into the film, let me give you my first impressions here on this Clover Club. Okay. Very, very good from my perspective. Don't be fooled by the pink and the raspberries. This is not a foo-foo sweet drink. This is pretty potent. The gin is very prominent up front, and even though the lemon juice in the raspberry syrup do balance it out, you do get a heavy gin punch. Now the egg white, when you shake it, gives it this nice full body. I recommend trying it. It's going to be strong, just to warn you. I would probably, if you're going to have it 1 to 2, I wouldn't operate heavy machinery or make major decisions if you have more than 2 of these. Anywho, excellent drink. Cheers. Okay, so Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So this film came out in 2020 via Netflix, and it's based on the play of the same name by August Wilson. Now, this movie is a fictional account of the real-life blues legend Ma Rainey and her band during a recording session in 1927 on a very, very hot day in Chicago. Okay, so at this point in time, the film has ushered in a number of nominations in a variety of categories, but particularly for Viola Davis and for Chadwick Boseman, who play the 2 main characters. Davis plays Ma Rainey, and Boseman plays a character named Levy Green. And so at this point in time, as I'm recording this video, the Oscars, they haven't made their nominations yet. It wouldn't be surprising to me if this film gets more than a handful of Oscars nominations. I would just be surprised if they didn't get a number of them. So, having said that, what makes this film great to me? Well, I can give you my big 3. In this case, it's the story. So this film was based on August Wilson's play of the same name, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And August Wilson, and we'll get into a little bit about him and his background and the influence in the film. Just a very, very noteworthy, great American playwright. The second is the performances of Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. Really just jaw-dropping. You can't take your eyes off them in this film. And then finally, it's the music, right? You're talking about a blues legend, Ma Rainey, who did most of her recording in the 20s, and but the music that she produced, which saturates this film, really puts you in that period, really solidifies the story, really. And Branford Marsalis, the noted jazz musician, is the one who contributed. It was his score, and he contributed to the music selection for this. And those are the 3 main things from my perspective. Solid choices. Okay, as mentioned, this play was based on August Wilson's 1984 play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And he was a celebrated playwright. I mean, he passed away too soon. He was actually 60 years old, and he passed away in 2005. So there's no doubt he had plenty more work inside him, and unfortunately it's been lost. However, the work he did contribute to and deliver has been influential on many writers, and he really had the innate ability to capture the African American experience in addition to the human condition, relative of any race, just being human beings, having passions, having love, having disappointment. It's something that bonds us together as humans, right? So August Wilson could really capture those moments beautifully. Now, Wilson's play was adapted into the screenplay by writer and actor Ruben Santiago Hudson, and you may know his work from The Castle. I believe he was actually an actor in the show The Castle. But he did a magnificent job of taking Wilson's words. Many of those words are right from the play, and a lot of them have been enriched by Santiago Hudson's contributions. Again, you're talking about a film that holds you in a room because it has the feel of a stage play in a lot of ways. So it's really dialogue driven, and so it's really important that you have the right dialogue to hold on to the audience's attention and still allow these actors to convey this emotional emotional tug of war that they have in this picture. It's just something I really, really gravitated to. Okay, so second, we're talking about Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. Absolutely outstanding performances. I would not be surprised if they both won Oscars for their roles. Viola Davis, she captures the independent spirit of Ma Rainey brilliantly. So Ma Rainey is a very complex character. Again, she was a woman of color, a woman, and she was also bisexual, and was fairly open about it. And something that was very unusual, especially at that time, that those three elements, an artist of her caliber could almost control her career. I say almost because there's always record company involvement and constraints. But and you see in this performance Viola Davis really convey that emotional up and down that Ma Rainey is experiencing at the time, and she's kind of hard set in her ways. She's pretty stubborn, but at the same time will fight to the bitter end to retain her artistic integrity. And I think that Viola Davis really captured that intensity in her character beautifully. Okay, and then there's Chadwick Boseman. Now, we know how sad it was. He passed away last year. This was his last role, and it really is a testament to how much he will be missed. He was absolutely breathtaking in this performance. He played the character named Levy Green, who's really a musician who longs for the success that is really equal to his talent. And, this leads to stylistic conflicts between him and Ma, because he is the new age, he is the new upcoming style that's going to be popular. Ma Rainey is classic blues, tradition, does not want to change, so they butt heads quite a bit. And there are some other things that go on in the film that lead to this conflict as well. Man, there's just so much to say about Chadwick's performance, but here's a small clip. Check it out.
Come on and save him like you did my mama. Save him like you did my mama. I heard her when she called you. I heard her when she said, Lord, have mercy. Jesus, help me. Please, God, have mercy on me, Lord. Jesus, help me. Did you turn your back?
So, yeah, his character can change on a dime. It's smiling, happy-go-lucky, to fury and anger in the beat of an eye. It's a performance for the ages. I mean, he's just that good, in my opinion. All right, so next, the music. I don't know how you can have a story about Ma Rainey, noted blues slash jazz performer and not have fantastic music. And in charge of the score for this was Branford Marsalis, jazz legend in his own right, um, and he delivers on all accounts. Um, he put together a score that expressed the tensions and dynamics of each of the characters, and especially when there's two characters that have different approaches to music, and you can almost get that from the score as well. Now, Levy wants to try the new genre of jazz. We talked about that, and he's more of an improviser, where Ma Rainey prefers the safe, conservative style that has made her a success, has made her popular, has sold many records in her name, and it's this battle of wills um, that is the central conflict of the story, and musically, Marcellus really pulled that together nicely. All right, so with all of those elements, there's no denying to me that this is just a great, great film. Now, it's available on Netflix. I hope you take the time and give it a shot. Check it out. I'd be interested to hear what you think. Please leave a comment. Start a conversation about it. It would be fantastic from my perspective. It is, it's adapted from the play, so there's not a lot of scene jumping and kind of robust action in that sense. It's very dialogue driven, which suits the story because the characters are really the central aspect, and you really get to know them and get their emotions. So, but from that standpoint, an absolutely excellent movie. And if you have yourself a Clover Club with it, that's a winning combination. So, yeah, leave a comment on the film. Leave a comment on this cocktail if you can make it. Um, until we see each other again, cheers, stay safe, and take care.